I'd like to go over how to submit quiz one as we're nearing the end of the week. So here I'm logged into our Moodle site for the class. At the top, we're in statistics, and if you scroll down a little bit, you will see what to do for this first week. And towards the bottom here, we have quiz one and submit quiz one here. So if you click on quiz one, all right, it opens up the document in a separate page. On the first page, there's four questions, which it's fine for this if you simply put a one or two word answer. These are just definitions, important for the rest of the semester. And then if you scroll down to the second page, there is a frequency distribution, a little bit more computational, but there really isn't too much work to show for this entire quiz. I wanted to keep it simple and then just have you know how to submit this to me. So towards the bottom, there's there's a question here where, okay, maybe it's not just numbers, but you'd write out a sentence, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for this. Okay, going back to the course. Once you have that quiz, you can print it out if you'd like, but it is okay if you put your work on a separate sheet of paper. It doesn't have to be a printout. And so if you click on Submit Quiz 1 here, it'll open up this other page where you click Add Submission. And you can drag and drop your files here, and these are the accepted file types. After you do that, you would click Save Changes, and that's all you have to do to actually submit the quiz. Now, off to the side here, I have two different quizzes. One contains kind of what I'm looking for a submission, and then something that is harder for me to grade and give you good feedback. So let's look at this first quiz here. It looks like it's saved as a PDF, which is great. That's a file type that you can put into here. It's labeled a student, so that's the student's name, and they tell me that it's their first quiz. So that's already off to a good start. When I download this, I know who it is and what they have submitted. Okay, so if we open this up, just to check that out. All right, so their name is at the top. That's nice. The picture that they took, yeah, so when you submit this, you could scan this if you have a scanner, but it's also okay if you just take a picture with a smartphone. There's nothing wrong with that. It looks like that's what this student did. I can see all the work fits nicely within the window. I see there's a little bit of a shadow, probably from their phone, which is fine. It's just a little bit off to the side. This was done in pen. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that if the quiz is mostly legible. So the content here is not statistics. This is not for the first quiz, but this is really just something to get across, what I'd like to see for a submitted quiz, even though that this is algebra and not statistics. Again, just getting the point across. So they copied down what the question is, which isn't 100% necessary, but if it's short enough, just something so I know like what part of the quiz you are answering that's useful for me. I like that. Okay, this work mostly looks correct, but there's some space off to the side where I could write some feedback to you, which would be useful for me. So there's space where I can, if something is incorrect, I can make note of that. So they did their work. It looks like they caught a little mistake in their work, and it's okay if like there's just a little portion of your quiz that you draw a couple of lines through and say like, okay, it wasn't that, I made a mistake, like that's clear to me. It's not a massive portion of what you turned in, and then you can skip over that. It's easy for me to see like, okay, don't grade this, I'm picking up here. And they put a box around their final answer. I mean, this looks completely correct to me. So again, some space off to the side if there were mistakes for me to comment on. This is also in one document, which is useful for me. So I can just simply scroll down, and so here is their second question. Again, just simply solve for x. They started with the equation and started working until they got to their final answer. For this problem, technically this is incorrect to include this as a solution, but I grade based on partial credit. And this is why showing your work is useful for me. So like if you have a bunch of work, but there's something a little bit wrong in your final answer, that's okay. I know where this came from, and that means I can award partial credit, and I probably would deduct, very little, if anything at all, for this mistake. And again, there's some space where I can comment on why this is incorrect. I'd probably say something like, check your work for this answer. And that's good. So this is a very great submission. It's easy for me to grade. It's in one document, and the document is labeled with the name and what it is, and they also wrote it at the top of their quiz. Now, if we check out this other submission over here, all right, off the bat here we have, well, I don't know who it is. It's just some generic name based on the number of images apparently they have. It is a JPEG, which is great. Like you can submit that, um, but I don't even know like what's their first page. Maybe it's this one because it has a smaller number than this. I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do is open this first one and see what it is. All right. Okay, so some problems with this are, well, first it's upside down, and I mean, I can rotate it myself, but if I start doing this on every quiz, it's just extra time and uh, not useful for me. Like, this is actually the second question, it appears, that they wrote here, and although there is space for me to make comments on this, is if I try to write over this, it won't be clear. It would be better if like you got a better angle of your page, so I could write it so it looks normal compared to the work that you have done. It looks like the work is mostly incorrect, so I would have to make some comments on that. Oh, and I see there's a note here. Looks like this. Yeah, it looks like the student had some trouble with it, and I'm not opposed to, if you open the quiz and you have some trouble, or maybe you need some direction as to where to go, you can ask me about that. I won't solve the quiz for you, but I could say like check out this problem or this part of a video or something like that. But if you submit something last minute on Saturday and you say you don't know how to do it, it's hard for me to help you with that. I have to grade based off of what you submitted. So it's good if you check out the quiz maybe a day or two before you submit it. That way, if you're having trouble, like you could at least ask for some help, or being pointed in the right direction, as opposed to submitting this and then I can't really help you at that point. But so the problems are, it's upside down, the angle is strange, it's hard for me to write my feedback on, especially since a lot of the area is not the actual piece of paper. So okay, this is actually the second page, so it must be that this is their first page, so we could check out that one. Let's open that up here. Okay. All right, so this one's better in terms of the the layout. Okay, so it's facing in the correct orientation where it's not upside down or sideways. Okay, I know this is the first question. They still haven't written their name or what this is on the top, so it's hard for me to know like where this came from. So, but I do know this is the first question. I see that they started, looks like they subtracted 3 or something from both sides, which definitely is not the right step for this problem. And then they did something else and crossed it out. And then, okay, this is their final answer. Looks like they erased it a couple of times and wrote something down on. So here's something else. For this work here, this is the problem, and this technically is the right answer, but all of the work is incorrect. So I can't award much, if any, credit for a problem submitted like this. Like I have to see how you arrived at your answer, and clearly this is the right answer, and this work is completely incorrect. I grade based mostly on the work that took you to your answer as opposed to the final answer. So like this would not receive a good amount of points. It might be better to lie the quiz flat, and then if you're taking a picture, kind of hover above it and take it that way, as opposed to trying doing something like this, because it's still, even though it's oriented correctly, it's kind of funny. It's at an angle. So overall, the problems for this particular quiz, where it is in 2 separate documents, which isn't a huge problem. It's less convenient for me, but don't submit something that's flipped upside down, and make sure that you label your name on it. It's just so I can get it back to you in a timely manner, and also I can write some comments on it as well. In either case, you would drag your files into here, you would save changes, And that is everything that I'm looking for turning in the first quiz.